So looking at day 6 here, this is, by the way, this is information you are going to find directly in your textbook. I know that like some of the resume stuff, some of the interviewing stuff, it was out of like another material. You can see even the slide looks a little bit different. This is directly from chapter 20 of your NASM. So you will find this information. This is the kind of stuff they will test you on. If you go to NASM's exam blueprint here, and we pull this up, and again, Mo's going to give you guys this, although you can find it online if you want to look at it now. Domain 6. So we go to the very bottom here on domain 6, and you'll see like it's only 10% of the questions, but it's professional development of responsibility, right? So 10 questions, and they're going to be like, they need to know what you need to know what your scope of practice is. You need to know like proper safety procedures, emergency protocols like CPR, AED, and stuff, and then knowledge of what is required for maintaining your credentials. So remember your CEUs, and they may ask you a question about like how that works. Do marketing concepts such as branding, business to business, business to consumer, networking, sponsoring, social media, things like that. And so this whole 4 P's of marketing thing is something that you're going to find in your text, and it becomes very relevant because it is something that they like to ask you questions on, so looking at marketing 101, if we're talking about it, it kind of starts with, it's sort of a 3-step process, which is so funny because like I love this very specific 3-step process, which is the 3 steps to problem solving. I talk about this all the time, and it's always like whenever I have something in my life that I want to change or like do, I always go, okay, first I need a very accurate, clear assessment of like what's going on. Then I'm going to come up with a strategy, and then I'm going to try to implement that strategy. And that's like, my favorite thing to do in my life all the time. It's very similar to starting a business, it's very similar to like, you launching your own thing, right? It is, first thing you need to do is identify like what the customers that you want to serve needs are, I don't know what you guys are going to kind of find yourselves in. If this is just going to be a side hustle for you, great. If you guys already have like another job that pays pretty well, and like you're like, okay, well, what I want to do is I just want to have a couple clients on the side to kind of supplement my income. That's great. That's what your business is, right? Like you have like a clear idea of like where you want to go. Now you just need to match that with what you think your customers' needs are going to be. What do people need? People need to work on weight loss. People need to work on muscle gain. People need to work on their health. People need to work on their nutrition. We definitely are more in like a Zoom-based world over the last couple of years. There's been obviously a very big shift here. People need access to like at-home personal training. That is something that has kind of grown for me and is very convenient because I can just kind of park myself in front of my computer and lead somebody through something like that. So step 1, first things you need to do, you need to get a really clear idea of what this is. So we do have our definition of marketing, by the way, which I believe is a homework question. So you may want to get this definition here. It's marketing is the ways in which an individual promotes their goods or services, which is so funny because I just got done saying like it's not advertising, but that is the definition there. But it starts with like, again, identifying any potential customer needs, right? What is something in the health and wellness industry that people need? Some people want the convenience, some people they're like, I'm looking for convenience. Okay, great. Like that means that you're going to, if you can train out of somebody's home, that's very convenient. Let's take a look at like what we think some of the things that people need out there, in the world, and people who have like filled that need, right? So like if we look at like 24-hour fitness, what do you think 24-hour fitness is selling, guys, other than gym memberships? What is it that the 24-hour fitness sells? What's their product?
Are we talking originally or what they currently have?
Either.
Because originally it was to be able to be access to the gym 24 hours a day to be able to get fitness whenever you fit into your schedule.
Yeah.
Nowadays, all their gyms are now like 9 to like 5 to 9 or something like that. There's none that are open 24 hours locally, at least not here anyways.
Oh, wow.
And then they're closing a lot.
I'm sure that'll go back. Yeah, but that's it. They're looking, they're offering convenience, right? That's a big one. What about like Equinox? You know, what do we think friggin' Equinox is selling? What are they, you know, the need that they're filling? What's that?
Fancy stuff, I guess.
What's that?
Like higher class workout or environment.
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, I would argue they're not even selling it's a gym, but I think it's a club.
It's an image.
Yeah, it's an image. It's a status symbol in a way, you know. People are like, oh, you belong to Equinox, you know, and it's like, I know so many people who struggle for their Equinox membership and like they pay it every time. But yeah, I think that is 100% accurate. Yeah. They're looking for a bougie, they're marketing to people who want like a bougie experience. And then if you look at like Planet Fitness, you know, they're offering, I think, two very simple things, right? They're offering a really low price point, which is great, right? They want to make sure that everyone feels very, very welcome. And so like, that's their big thing. So yeah, so when you're considering like marketing, right, and you're trying to find a way to get, you're trying to develop a product that's going to fill like a segment of the market, you first need to start with like what people need, you know? And luckily, this is all, you know, you guys are going to come away with a lot of skills that kind of make that easy, you know? Honestly, what a lot of people need is they need a way to like work on their injuries. And rehabilitate, you know, and that's where the corrective exercise side of things comes in. And people need a lot of nutrition advice because, you know, we're not so good about eating healthy in this country. And so like those two things kind of come together really, really well with your guys' skill set. But you just need to figure out like, you know, what segment do you kind of want to work in, you know? Like me, I was telling my friend the other day, I'm not really willing to travel that far for personal training anymore. Like my one-on-one training sessions, I bring people to me, you know, because I've moved into this stage of my career where, you know, I just want someone to come my way. I want it to be very convenient. So I've done a little bit of online stuff. I'm doing a little bit of stuff in my backyard. You know, I would travel to the park. I don't have anybody who wants to do that right now, but like I'd be willing to, you know, maybe go to a park that's very nearby me. But in terms of like, you know, paying rent at a gym and having to worry about like overhead and stuff like I used to, I'm just not interested in doing that anymore. You know, that part of my career is over. So I have like a different business now, you know. Some people don't really need that, and that's who I'm marketing towards. So you want to identify your potential customer needs, because now you know, that's going to determine who your customers are. So if we look at like developing that product or service, right, that's the next thing we need to do. We need to develop a product or service to satisfy those needs. So when we consider that, like, you are the product, right, this is where you are considering like your skills and things, right? So how can you develop your product or service to meet the potential needs of your customer? That's going to be your certifications or the area of town you're located in, maybe what time you were offering. I always liked being a morning trainer. That was always my thing. I liked, you know, I'd be up at 5 and at the gym by 5:30. And I would start my sessions like 5:30 in the morning, maybe 6, if, you know, I couldn't book that first half hour. And then, like, you know, work with people before they went to work. And that was great. That's what people needed. They needed like a routine in the morning. They needed a way to roll out of bed and head straight to the gym and start their day like that. Which, by the way, if you guys get the pick, it sucks waking up in the mornings, I guess, but guys, like, they're the best clients. They're the ones who are the most dedicated. They show up on time. You know, you would think that early in the morning, you'd end up running into more problems where people are like, oh, I'm really tired, I can't do this, or I stayed up too late, or the sleep to their alarm or whatever. You would think that you'd run into that a lot, but let me tell you, that's not really usually the case. Usually the morning people are the ones who are like the most dedicated, and they're going to show up on time. Love that. So I'm a big fan. I think that they're the best clients. I've worked mornings, evenings. I've never worked afternoons. I've never done, there's that's the time that all gyms are dead. I wish I could tell you that I have experience with that. I know some trainers fill that slot. That's actually an area that's a glaring area that I know nothing about. The noon to 3 p.m. area, gyms are usually dead during that time, but I know some trainers who are they fill that need as well. But yeah, morning and stuff like that, that's actually a product, that's you filling, somebody who's looking for a way to start their day. Or maybe, you obtain a certification, this mod we're doing the sports stuff, but last mod we did seniors, maybe that's okay, well, I know a lot of seniors need, health and wellness. And so that's where you put a little bit of extra emphasis in. You go get a senior certification. Great. Now you're filling that need. So that's step 2. You want to develop your product or need. You guys have already done a good chunk of that, before you guys are going to graduate. And lastly, you need to promote it in a very cost-effective way. You need to find a way to get your product and service out there, to reach as many people as possible. And actually make this happen. And by the way, this promoting thing, this is not just something you do if you are, and all of this, there's this entire 3-step process. This is not just something you do when you are starting your own business. You should be doing this if you plan on working in a gym. When I went in to LA Fitness, for instance, I went to my boss. And this is after I transferred, because my first boss didn't know he knew who I was. I was working on the front desk. He knew I was very green and very new. But when I transferred, I went up to my boss. I went to my manager and I was like, hey, thanks for bringing me on. I'm really excited. If you have anybody with knee problems, back problems, shoulder problems, you got any aches and pains, send them to me. That's who I want to train. And those are often tough customers that not everybody has the training for. And so even if I wasn't the best at it at the time, because I was still pretty new at that point, I'm much better now. And I continued to kind of learn and stuff as I grew. But even doing that in the beginning, my manager was immediately yeah, all right, cool. Those people are really hard to find trainers for because not everybody wants to work with those guys, and so it instantly gave me a little bit of a niche. It did some of the promoting for me, and that was awesome. I got a little bit of a reputation of being the corrective exercise guy. And so anytime someone walked in the gym and it's hi, welcome, and it's hi, it's come on in, let's give you the tour, and then they're talking to this person and giving them that first, trying to sell them the gym membership, and all of a sudden they're yeah, it's so what brought you in today? And they're oh, well, my doctor was saying, I could really help my back pain if I get more physically active, and there's a lot of aches and pains. I'm looking to fix that. And it's who you should meet our trainer, Brad. It's boom, instantly I'm the first name that popped into their brain because I went out of my way to say it at my job, and that's what you guys are going to do. Every one of you guys, you're going to walk in there and be I've got my corrective exercise certification, send them to me. And they'd be all right, oh, you got knee problems, you need to talk to Thomas. Oh, you got shoulder problems, you got to talk to Edwin, that's how we're going to send everybody, we're going to send everybody around. So that is part of the promoting side of things. You could also just promote your services by getting up on social media. I wish Eddie were here, but Eddie is really big on social media. He's got he's got a good following, and he's constantly posting about his own fitness journey and stuff. It's great. So this is not just a starting your own business thing. This can also very much be applied to sort of in the job. So let's talk a little bit more about like how to identify potential customers, right? So three most common reasons people are seeking out personal trainers. The three big ones, guys: appearance, sports performance, or general health. And sports performance is pretty rare. That one actually doesn't even show up that often. Most of the time, people are trying to look better or feel better. I can't tell you how many times I had people, come up for their first fitness assessment. I'm like, so why are you here? Like, what are you interested in? It's like, doctor told me I need to lower my cholesterol. I hate working out. I'm like, cool. All right. You may hate it. We got to find a way to make you love it, like, because it sounds like this is still like a big priority. So there's like a health thing, or, sometimes like my roommate, I trained my roommate this morning, right? And it's so funny. Like he, for me, I like to try to improve my sports performance. I like to, try to get the heaviest weights I can, and do this and that. For me, I'm motivated by, hitting new milestones and being able to perform really well when I'm playing sports and stuff. For him, he's like, nope, I just want to look good. He's like, this is all for appearance. Like, and he's the first to admit that. He's like, this is all for show. And I'm like, well, if you do this, it'll be more functional. And he's like, I don't care. Like, he's like, whatever just makes it look the nicest. And it's like, okay, cool. He's very honest about what he wants, and I think that's great. I think that's really, really, really good, So appearance, or sometimes it'll be, you will run into people who are trying to improve their sports. Doesn't matter. Whatever the reason is, the ultimate motivation is that they are trying to improve their quality of life. And that's, I think, this right here, and this is something I added, but this is the most important thing to remember when it comes to like anybody who's walking in the gym. Even if someone comes in and they're like, I don't like working out, I'm just here because I have to. It's like, okay, well, you still believe that like this is going to be the answer to whatever's going to improve your overall quality of life. You're going to get something improved out of this, whether that's more energy, having a little bit of fun. Hopefully we'll find a way to make it fun, for everybody. That's, by the way, what like CrossFit, that's what they identified like people need. They need like a fun, motivating environment. And I think that they do it better than anyone. They really do a great job. Or Soul Cycle. You guys ever been to has anybody in here been to a Soul Cycle? Oh man, guys, this is a weird company. I say they're weird. It's not that weird. So this is what their room looks like, but it will never actually look like this when you're at Soul Cycle. Like, this is with the lights on. When you go to actual Soul Cycle, they put on the club lights. Look, they literally light candles. and it's a whole experience, and you have to book your sessions super far in advance because of how freaking popular it is. But it is like an indoor club. That's what they're selling, like a group fitness experience. They're looking to market towards people who are, looking for something fun and unique that they can get into the routine of it. I know people who will like, the times available for booking will start at like, they roll around, they reset at like 6 a.m. and like they'll wake up at 6 and like sign up for their class and go back to bed until they have to get up at 8. Like that's how dedicated people are. That's, if you are able to market yourself and be just as fun as something like that, and you get people motivated, like, as strong as that, you guys are going to be in a great spot financially and business wise. That's really going to set you up. Talking a little bit further about like developing that appropriate product, like I said, you want to try to address what your customer needs are. So a trainer who will help someone burn lots of calories, that's a good way to market yourself. If you're focusing on weight loss, it's like, look, we're going to do all the things that are going to help you, shred calories. We're going to do all the types of things that are going specialize in maximizing like muscle building while also like burning, plenty of energy. We're trying to create this like specific energy balance and stuff. Or maybe corrective exercise. Maybe we'll look at the corrective exercise side of things. You're like, look, I have a lot of certifications. So that's what you're going to focus on during your sessions. You guys might have noticed when we did the fitness assessment demo thing, when I was taking you guys through, spent a lot of my time talking about the posture stuff, right? Like I spent most of my time being like, this muscle's doing this, which means we're going to fix it by going, doing X, Y, and Z exercises. Spent a lot of time in that realm. Not everybody's going to be motivated by that. You're going to have like I think that our group was very much like, yeah, this is really valuable information. I know exactly what I need to do based on my posture now. Some people, that doesn't motivate them. And it's funny because you'll be able to pick up on it. You're walking them through the fitness assessment and you're like, so this is what this means, this is what this means, this is how you got to do this. And they're like, all right, cool. And they're just like not very interested. It's like, okay, so this is not so much about aches and pains, like that's not why you're here. You're not here trying to feel better. You're here to maybe look better or to perform better or something, and that's all right. So then it's like suddenly you kind of pick up on those vibes. You go keep moving through your fitness assessments. Like, all right, we're gonna do some performance assessments. And then they're like, oh yeah, I want to know how much I can bench. I'm trying to be able to bench over 200 for the first time, or I'm trying to, I want to be one of those guys that can stack 3 plates on the bar. Got it. Okay, so that's what we're motivated by. Everybody's gonna be different. You just need to figure out how to like fit your product, and you can shift that by, obviously, like if you are developing yourself, getting new certifications, developing your skills, working in gyms where you have the equipment that you want to have access to, that is going to be you developing your specific product, right? A lot of times, like we're looking at like, again, the big 3, people who want to look better, feel better, sometimes perform better. We don't run into that one as often, but if you look at like that video that we watched the other day, right? What was his gym? MichaelJohnsonPerformance.com. We were watching that video about like trying to like literally get better at one thing. They were just trying to improve their ability to run a really effective 40. Now this gym isn't actually only built around that. It's built around like overall sports performance, but this whole gym is like, look, it's very sports performance based. I mean, look at all this. This is a very specific stuff that is all athletic based, right? A lot of free weights, a lot of stability work, a lot of space for cones, and then like you can see very specific like camera things to pick up on, and then the recovery stuff as well. So they're all about like, yeah, this is the sports medicine side of things. It's great. They got dry needling, they got all kinds of cool stuff. That's what they're marketing towards, so you got to figure out what your product's going to be. How do you see yourself? Start developing that now. One of the things that I used to do in gyms is I would teach people a very specific dynamic warm-up. And so I would build like a little dynamic, let's see here if I can, we'll look up one that's very simple. Look at just like a very simple dynamic warm-up circuit here. Yeah, there we go. Here's I don't know, 2 minutes is pretty short, but let's say here's a little 2-minute thing. So it's like they're doing some hops, a little bit side to side, a little bit more. Okay, no, I don't like this one. Hold on. I know I'm only looking for an example, but I want something just a little bit, a little bit more dynamic. Dynamic warm up. There we go. Really simple. So here's like a little track warm up. Okay, there's a little dynamic track warm up. So it's like leg swings, 10 on the left, 10 on the right. Lateral leg swings, 10 on the left, 10 on the right. Hip rotations, walking quad ham stretch, right? So you pull the knee in and then pull it to the back, right? Walking lunges, I'd probably change that to a walking lunge with a twist and like a little karaoke in both directions, right? That is so simple, right? And you would do this in a line. This is what we're gonna do when we meet up in the park, which is not this coming week, but the one in a couple weeks. You know, we're gonna do this big track warm up, you know, where it's like, all right, we're walking and pull the knees in, right? And then give me some heel taps and some hen pecks, right? And like you just kind of work your way back and forth and do it in a line. I used to do the same dynamic circuit for every single client who was doing it, at least if it was appropriate for them. Because this was a general warm up. It wasn't meant to be specific to them. They would do their specific stuff and then they would come and do like this general warm up for 5 minutes. And I always did the same thing. I'd like look at the gym floor, big gym. I just wanted like a picture. Well, yeah, this kind of works. Actually, you know what? This is actually perfect. So I would find a spot like this, right? See how this gym, they kind of have it, so they put like the little strip of red in here to kind of indicate it's like, oh, this is separating the free weights section over here with the machine section over here. You know, they like, you'll see that in gyms sometimes. They'll have these like strips of space. I would take every client to the same spot every time, and I would teach all of them that warm up. And they would all do it in like the same stretching area, you know? Like if I was in a place like this, I'd probably do it around that, probably right over here around like this strip, like this wall to this wall. And so I'd always find a spot like that. And when everyone would do it, that is cool. Look at that little TRX thing. It's like set up in a circle. Everyone would do it, and then people would be on the treadmill and they'd be like running, or people would be on the elliptical machine. They'd like see it, and they would see every one of my clients like start to do this. So like when my clients would come in to do their homework, right? Like on days that I wasn't training them, they would go through this dynamic circuit, and everyone started doing it. And it was so popular. And then I started seeing people that were not my clients doing that circuit. Like, people who were just like watching, and it's like, we could probably do that, you know? And then what would happen, and this happened all the time because of this, I would be working with my client and I'd show them how to do it, you know, like maybe like a new client. I'd walk them through and be like, so I'm going to teach you this circuit. And I'd like teach him how to do it. And people would then start to see me hanging out with people doing this thing that they saw lots of people in the gym doing. And inevitably I'd be at the front desk and someone would come up and be like, hey, I've seen you training your clients around the gym and stuff. Would you be willing to show me some of those exercises and just have a conversation about it, right? A lot of times I would show people how to do it, and that was all they wanted, and they wouldn't sign up for training. You know, they weren't interested, but it was a way for me to open up the conversation and be like, great. So yeah, it's really good. We call it a dynamic warm up. It's such a good way to get your blood flow, and it kind of hits everything and loosens up the joints, increases the hinges and stuff. What is it that you do for your normal workouts? Do you want to, would you like to do like a fitness assessment? I can give you some more specific stretches that are actually more targeted towards you and your situation rather than, something general like this. And they'd be like, oh, that'd be great, and then suddenly I got a fitness assessment out of it. I might sell them on training. So that was a marketing thing that I would do during my training sessions, because you guys are your product. And that's the big thing you want to kind of keep in mind all the time. You are your product. This is why, scrub your social media, guys. Scrub it down. Like if you've got pictures of you, being taking, 6 shots in a row at a bar, because your buddy bet you $20, like, maybe don't leave that up there if you're trying to promote like health, this is the promotion side of things. So like I said, you want to find a way to promote your services in a very cost-effective manner. So this is where we start talking about what is known as the marketing mix, or the 4 Ps of marketing. Again, 4 Ps, that means that like there are 4 things that make really good test questions. Get this stuff memorized, just because it's probably going to show up. This is like premium multiple choice question real estate right here. This is the kind of stuff that makes really good. I don't necessarily think it's the most important, but again, the analogy that I always use is like the reason your history teachers would make you memorize dates is because dates make really good questions. What year did this battle happen? Nobody, it didn't matter. It doesn't have any effect on things based on the year, but the year is what's an easy question to write. And so because it's an easy writable question, it shows up in homework and stuff. 4 P's of marketing. I do think you need to know this information, but I think the why behind it's more important. However, these vocabulary words are very good test questions. So this is an area that I think you should definitely write down. So the marketing mix, the 4 P's of marketing. This is basically key areas that are going to basically do all of the work of creating your business like structure for you. If you do all of this, if you consider these 4 things and you get them very clear in your head, if you write them down, you are going to instantly have a business on your hands that all you have to do is put it into place, put it into practice. So first things you need to consider is your product, right? Again, obviously you guys are the product, it's a goods or service, maybe you're not selling any goods, but you are certainly selling a service. So couple things to consider when it comes to your product, right? Obviously, when it comes to it, the specific product that you are selling. Oh, and by the way, this is the definition: specific product or service offered. Some of that's going to be variety. It's the depth of your product line. Don't limit yourself, guys. Like, don't just be like, what do you do? It's like, well, I sell, I'm my personal trainer. Don't just sell 60-minute personal training sessions. Maybe you consider doing duo sessions. Duo sessions are amazing, by the way, and small group training is even better. If you have got the ability to train 2 people at once, like, again, let's say you got somebody who wants to work with a personal trainer, but they don't have a lot of money. They're like, I don't know, I can't really afford, let's say you're charging $70 an hour. They're like, I can't really afford $70 an hour. Well, maybe you can offer duo sessions for $45 an hour, and so like, as long as they show up with a partner and both of them pay $45, now you are making $90 in that 1 hour, but they only have to pay $45. That is nearly, it's like what, like a 40% discount? That's a great deal, so they lose a little bit of like personal attention, but they gain a much cheaper version of that. And then maybe the product, maybe it's like you offer small group training up to 4 people, up to 4 people in one session. And then the price goes down even further. It's like, what about like $30 a person, 30, 60, 90, $120 in an hour. And those people only pay like $30. That's small group training. Small group training is awesome. It's been getting more popular over the last few years. In the gym, in the physical therapy clinic that I worked in, where we would do, there was the physical therapy team and then there was the personal training team. The personal training team, we also offered this small group training class called, I think we call it the PAC. The fun name for it, I guess. And we kept it really simple. There were 2 trainers on staff and they would kind of work in these little studios that like, there were 2 like little, it was kind of a weird gym, but they had like 2 little training areas that were kind of identical to one another. And then this little group area aside from that. And so that way, like 2 trainers could be working with 2 clients at a time, but really that was it. That was never, it wasn't meant to be like a full gym. And then they would do like these pack classes. So like, they were offered at the same time, Monday through Friday. And whatever trainer worked the evening shift the day before, they would just erase on the whiteboard what the workout was going to be, and they would throw it up, and it would be there the next day for everybody else to do. Really, really simple. And that was small group training, and that made so much money. You would show up for your 1 hour, you'd set up a little small group training thing. 4 people would be getting a great workout, still getting a lot of personalized attention, right? They're not getting a routine that's written for them necessarily like as specifically, but they are getting a lot of like, oh, this one hurts my knee. Oh, okay, Karen, yeah, change it up. Let's try this one instead, right? And so you just do like a quick change. That's what people want their trainer for, you know? So guys, offer small group training. I really recommend it. It's great. Offer 30-minute sessions if you want to. I get away from this. Get away from this eventually. I don't love 30-minute sessions for you guys permanently. But 30-minute sessions can be a really great way to kind of fill in some of the gaps in your client base. LA, if you end up working at LA Fitness, they do 30-minute training sessions. A lot of times you just want to book 2 of those back to back and get a full hour. But like, you know, if you've got somebody who's super dedicated to you know, doing their warm up and doing their cool down and stuff outside of your training session, and you can just teach them those things early on, and they show up and you just wipe the floor with them, you know, and like get a big old calorie burn. 30-minute sessions can still be very effective. You know, it'll often feel more like a HIIT class than anything. 60-minute sessions. A lot of times, like, trainers fall into this trap of like, you know, when it comes to their product, they're like, what do you do? And it's like, they're personal train, and that's all they offer. But you'll make way, way, way more money by having like a variety in your product line. So that's something you guys should all be considering. You're also going to want to consider what your features are. What features make you unique? What separates you from your competitors? Now, features and services are different. These are they are both things that are very important to have, but they do act differently from one another, right? So features are characteristics that are going to separate you from everyone else, right? Like when you guys think of Planet Fitness, the thing that kind of separates them is like, oh, it's a no judgment environment, right? That's like what people tend to, people think of Planet Fitness as like the cheap, very easy to get a gym membership, quick, and like I just go for the treadmill, you know. $10 a month to have access to a treadmill is totally worth it for me, you know. And then I got my real gym membership over here on the side, but like those treadmills are always full, you know. It's like, oh, okay, cool, you know, if that's what you want to do. It's whatever is offered there that is unique from something else. Another one that you can offer is maybe you do nutrition stuff. You know, maybe you offer nutrition services that somebody else doesn't, or maybe you offer, honestly, your variety is actually a big part of this, but it's like stuff that is unique to your, like products that are unique to your situation, right? You can see the examples we got here: personalized nutrition counseling, behavior change strategies, or corrective exercise. Those are all features that are very, very, very unique to you. Now, services are things that are usually very intangible. In fact, actually, I'm starting to rethink the Planet Fitness thing. I'd say the convenience and the cheap price is a feature. But the no judgment environment, the like welcoming, like, you know, environment that they create, I'd say that is more like a service. Services are things that benefit your clients that are usually very intangible, right? Not to toot my own horn, but like the thing that I'm usually known for is being knowledgeable. That's like a service. When people are like, and there's a bunch of trainers on staff and someone's trying to pick who they want to like set up a schedule with, they're like, oh, I want the person who's going to explain things to me, who knows the why behind the what. That is a service that I think I've cultivated as like part of my image when I'm working in a gym. Whereas like I used to work with this guy, Andre, who was like an ex-NFL player. He was humongous. He was like 6'5". He's probably like 270 pounds. Pure muscle. Like just, I don't know, 270 is a lot, but he was big. He was like Terry Crews big. And he was a great dude, actually. Here's quick, okay. I don't want to take all day with a story, but my favorite story that I used to tell when I was working at LA Fitness, I was sitting there training my client. She was doing a seated row. I look out the window. This is the one that looked out over the 101 in Universal City. And it used to have like a window that literally it lit out over the 101. They made them construct that down, but there used to be treadmills in there, and there used to be like all the upper back machines in there. So I was working with my client, and I look out, and there was a school bus that broke down in the middle of the 101. And I was like, oh, look at that. That sucks. They must have been on a field trip or something, and their bus broke down. And so we were like waiting to see like a tow truck arrive or something. But then we look, it's like, oh yeah, sure enough, look, there's steam coming out of the engine. And then that steam turned into like black smoke. And then it started like, you could see flames in the bus. And I was like, oh my God, that bus is on fire. And like the kids are all going out the back door. And they're stuck on the 101. There's cars and everything. And they get off, but like there's nowhere to get off the 101. They're just kind of like on in the medium, you know. And I was like, hey, hold on, stay here. And I grabbed Andre. I was like, hey, come with me. And we both go down. And there was this like chain link fence, and we just broke it off the screws and like folded it down. And I say we. I did a little bit of the peeling. Andre did the breaking. That guy was enormous. We break it down. We're like, hey, come on. And then they walked up, you know, like over the chain link fence and stuff. And like we threw him in the kids club while they waited for the cops to, you know, whatever to show up. But yeah, there was, if you looked at the 101 for a little bit, there was like a white, it was actually, I don't know why it was white. I thought it would be like black. But there was like, I think it was like where they maybe hosed it down with the chemicals and stuff. But there was this like white outline of a school bus in the 101 right underneath that gym. Yeah, so that was like a fun thing. Anyway, Andre's services were very different from mine. People went with him, they were like, I want to get big. They're like, I'm not going with the skinny runner guy over here. You know, that guy won't stop talking about corrective exercise. I don't care about that. I want to get big. I want to work with this guy. That's the football guy. I want to work with him, you know? And it worked, man. He was booked solid. There were some older trainers. The seniors loved to work with them. You know, it was like, oh, they get it. They have a little bit of perspective on my situation because they're also a little bit older, you know? Used to work with this woman, Troy. Troy had, you know, she was really well known for like being an ass kicker. Like she was like G.I. Jane, super hardcore. She was ex-military, so like people loved that. That's what they wanted, you know. They wanted someone who was just going to kick their butt. They went with Troy. You know, they wanted someone gentle and nurturing. They went with me. So it's just different. Everybody's a little bit different, you know. That services, that's like I like to think of your services as your reputation. Features are the stuff that you're offering that's different, you know. If you are offering nutritional counseling in addition to personal training, that's a feature that's unique to you. Services are usually intangible. And lastly, you've got appearance. Appearance is how your product is going to be packaged. Again, Equinox is killing it when it comes to their appearance. They are an upscale, bougie, boutique style gym that is meant to feel more like a club than anything. Maybe it's just very professional. Maybe you're looking for a very corporate setting. Maybe somebody is looking for more down to earth. When I started my boot camp, I had no money to buy equipment. And I was doing an outdoor boot camp, and I was marketing as like an ass kicking, you know, really fun outdoor gritty boot camp. And the reason I did it that way, the reason I marketed it that way, was because like I didn't have enough money to buy nice equipment. So I was getting my stuff off, you know, Facebook Marketplace and you know, Craigslist. All my stuff was rusty and worn out, but like it was kind of part of my thing, you know. I kind of used that to my advantage. I was like, look, we don't care what everything looks like. We're here to burn calories. It doesn't, you know, the rusty kettlebell burns just as many calories as the nice one. And I was still working at LA Fitness at the time, and they were throwing away a bunch of their medicine balls. And I went in there and like I got them right out of the dumpster, threw them in my car, took them home, filled it with like caulking, and then duct taped it. I just put a roll of duct tape around each of them, and then with black marker, it was like 10 pounds, you know? And I'd bring these duct tape medicine balls out on my boot camp, and they got dirty and they were nasty looking. People loved it. You know, like people thought it was fun. That was like part of the experience, you know? It's not gonna work for everybody. Not everybody's gonna be interested in that, but I was like, this is our atmosphere. We don't care what it looks like. You know, we're here to do the work. Some people will be into that, you know. My buddy Bobby started a place, Retro Fitness, over in WeHo. Now, I mean, I say he started. He's got a location. Actually, that's not the right one. Retrofit. Yeah, retrofit is in one word. Yeah, this is Bobby's. And it's cool. You know, it does have, no, that's an outdoor thing. There he is. There's my guy. But he, look at it. It's, there's nothing unique about this gym. And I was like, what makes it retrofit? And he's like, we have brick walls and we play classic rock. And so, like, you know, all the boomers who are like, you know, they want to listen to AC/DC while they're lifting and stuff. Great. Like, yeah, go to retrofit. You know, they want that Rocky IV training montage workout, you know. That's how he marketed his product, and it worked. He's got it, you know, he's been very successful with it. By the way, that guy did a shake weight commercial, which, you know, I know you guys aren't probably going to meet Bobby, but I promised him that I would never let him live that down. And so I bring it up every time I mention his name.
There, we'll be like, are you that guy from the shake weight commercial?
Oh my God, that would make my day so much if I got to witness that. Because that's the thing. Like, I was like, you are a legitimate trainer. He's like, look, the product is stupid and it has nothing to do with fitness, but the money is great. Like, you know, he made a bunch of money. So I was like, all right, whatever. Bobby, actually, one other thing, by the way, Bobby, he was from the UK. He actually didn't have, this is a classic example of like someone who you don't necessarily have to have your NASA. You know, he actually had a British training certification because he's from Scotland, and his thing was like totally from the UK. So he would do private clients because he didn't want to like pay for a new certification. He didn't want to like train in gyms, and getting in gyms just wasn't working for him. He was still able to get insurance, but he was like, and he just did at-home personal training. But Bobby was also a massage therapist. He also went to 1 year of massage school, and became like a massage therapist as well. So what he would do is, and apparently he was a pretty good cook. I don't think he had professional like chef training. What he would do is he would like work in Beverly Hills, and he would do these like super sessions that were like 2.5 hours. He would show up at someone's house, and he would like train them for an hour. They would go like, and then he would like give them a massage, or maybe it was before, you know, and then they would like go hop in the shower, and he would like go to their kitchen, and like foods that they would buy, he would like whip it up and make them like a post-workout meal. And he charged like $350 for one of those sessions. And it was like 2.5 hours of his life. Incredible money, you know? And he would do like 1 or 2 of those a day. And that, you know, he's making his living doing that. Definitely needed to find the clients for it, you know? And Bobby's a good looking guy, so it worked really well. You know, he was just hanging out in WeHo and Beverly Hills. That's where he marketed himself. Meanwhile, I was doing like gritty boot camps. I made pretty good money too. But it was very different, you know, there's a very different marketing environment, very, very different products. Questions you want to ask yourself. And none of this is stuff you have to like memorize, but these are really good questions you can ask yourself. If you are not sure what you want your product to be or what your product's going to look like, you know, consider these things. Like, what features are considered basic to your customers? You know, what are the things that, like, you know, everybody expects? They expect, you know, to have access to the gym. You know, they have, you know, at whatever time. Maybe they expect, the very simple stuff. So when you're trying to figure out how to develop a product, you can ask yourself, what's missing from the marketplace? Like what's something that like a lot of people aren't really offering? And how can your product or service address that gap, right? By the way, I got an idea for you guys. You guys are all welcome to steal this. I use this as my example every time I teach this class, but I have an idea that I don't really want to implement, but I think would be a fantastic fitness business, which is a just fitness assessment lab. Like put yourself in a strip mall in a very simple area, offer like DEXA scanning, which is basically like body fat percentage testing as well as like bone density test. So you get one of these DEXA machines, which are very expensive, but you only have to buy it once. 12 grand. Yeah, that's totally pricey, but once it's paid for, you're done. You never have to buy it again. So you get one of those, and then you get like an RMR, / VO2 machine. This is also really expensive. Oop, that's not the one I wanted. Where's Core? There we go. So they offer this machine here. So that one's $3,900. That's not so bad. So you get that. And what the RMR machine does is it tells you exactly how many calories you burn every day. Then you get, more so than the math. This one's actually specific to you, we used to have one of these when I worked at Biggest Loser, and we had 2 trainers on staff. One of them, they were both about the same age, they were both about the same height, they weighed about the same. And so like if you did the math, their calories are really similar. They were like, oh, you burn, you need, 1,700 calories maintenance every day to stay the same. Both of them really, really similar, really small ladies. But Katina, who, she just had like a thyroid problem. So her metabolism just ran slower. And so like you could pick up on that with the RMR machine. So it's really nice. If you have a client who, they can't explain why they're not losing weight, even though they're sticking to their diet, maybe do an RMR test. And then that same machine can do a VO2 test. You can, VO2s are really cool. Because you get like a little chart that prints out and it looks kind of like this. If you take a look at this person here, if I'm breaking this down for somebody, right, you can see what their target heart rate zone actually is for fat burning, endurance, or cardio. And we know exactly how many calories they burn per hour when their heart rate is so-and-so. So I could say, hey, I want you to go to the gym and I want your heart rate to be around 160. And if I want them to burn, let's say 400 calories, that's 820 calories per hour. So it's like, I want your heart rate to be 160 for about 30 minutes. There we go. I just created exactly the routine that I want them to do when I'm giving them their homework. And it's very exactly specific to them. And then this is actually testing where their VO2 falls. And it's going to get like better and better as, this is like a very advanced version of the Rockport walk test that is super, super specific rather than kind of relying on math, So you offer VO2 testing, you offer RMR testing, you do DEXA scanning, and then get like a high-speed camera along with like one of those like little grid things that kind of goes behind the wall. Where is it? Oh, come on.
It's crazy. I did DEXA a couple of years ago, and the closest place to do it was in Orange County.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's so dumb. Start your own business, man. Like, because people like you
writing it down already.
Right? People like you don't have to drive to freaking Orange County, But yeah, imagine like you do a posture assessment here. You take photos that like print out and you show your client, and then you have them move through a range of motion, show them like a slow video on like an iPad or something. So now you have got a posture analysis, Vo2. You basically just do a really advanced fitness assessment company, and then they come back. You could then steal a couple clients on the side and be like, hey, you want to train? Or you could be like, all right, here is a workout that works specifically for you, and you just build it. You don't want to train them? Send them off. You know, you built the program, be like, see you in 4 weeks, and I'll build you another program. Great. You know, like that's awesome, right? Go get hydrostatic machine. You can go get one of these machines, do the hydrostatic weighing. There's the one that's, yeah, these tanks are huge, this version. Where's the lie down one? There it was. Take the cost out of there. What freaking company does the lie down one? Those are like the best. They're just very convenient. Well, anyway, well, see, that's actually not so bad. That doesn't take up too much space. You know, that's like a bedroom. You know, that's a twin size bed. So anyway, get a bunch of that stuff, and then just continually check people. And, you know, even like if you were to offer it like nowadays, they've got like, you know, you could offer like blood paneling, do like a finger prick, and then like grab their DNA, mail it off and send it back and like do DNA testing. People love that stuff nowadays, right? And you could be like, all right, we'll have your results soon and we'll break it down for you. It's like, oh, you're from this area. You know, a lot of people, you know, and it's like very fitness related, like fitness related DNA testing. Because some people are going to be into that, right? There's so much of this where it's like, oh, this is funny. I tried 5G. Yeah, this would be a fun article to read about this. But anyway, that stuff, that sort of like assessment business, that is a business just like waiting to happen. Because people would love that. Edwin, you wanted the DEXA scan. People need workouts assigned to them, but they don't necessarily want to afford, like, this is something where it's like they charge, you know, you charge them $199 for a full workup. They come back every couple of months, you know, to get new workouts and stuff. That's cheap, you know, cheap and easy.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm actually working, now that you're talking about this, I'm working on designing something online, you know, but do it in a way where assessments are made online and all that, and kind of like digital. But I like this too, because it's like further, like, I mean, I personally did the DEXA and I think it's great, and there's nothing around too, you know.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that there's a need in the market. You know, we're a very data-driven world, you know, and the idea that like someone could have like that and post it up on social media and be like, look, my body fat percentage has gone down, you know, that's kind of cool. People love stuff they can post online. What are the key features that you want to ask yourself? What are your key features? And then how can your product give you an advantage in the marketplace? Mine, you know, it's expensive to do that fitness assessment, but you only have to do it once or twice. And then maybe you offer other stuff. If you got like a little studio like that, I mean, honestly, you could start offering like cryotherapy, you know, the cryotherapy stuff. You guys seen that? You get in the freaking chamber.
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It's pretty good. They have one in Monrovia close to me, and it's like it's a whole body one. Like, you don't, it's not the one that you stick your head out, but you go like in there completely. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Phase 2?
Yeah, you cover your face. I mean, you got like a beanie and you can cover your face with your hands or something, but
okay.
But I mean,
that
yeah, I do
like
the
a walk-in freezer.
I mean, it feels really good though.
Got it.
It's
okay,
like a walk-in freezer.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I was like, because I know like your nose and ears, like those temperatures, those will fall off.
Yeah.
But that makes more sense with the hat and stuff.
There's a place in LA, Brad, called Muscle Lab. They do that, and they do the infrared.
Oh yeah, the infrared stuff's getting popular too. Yeah, that's been coming around. Here's the thing. I don't know if that stuff actually works. I have not seen enough long-term research on it. But here's what I will say. I love doing weird, goofy fitness experiments that are on the fringe. I am not putting my name or reputation behind cryotherapy, but I will say, top of the year, I'm going to go get a 2-month in its unlimited cryotherapy sessions. I'm going to go every day for 60 days. And see what happens, and just see it as like, I think it'll be a fun experiment because I love to use myself as a guinea pig.
My joint issues, I've gone to the gym and I've used the cold dip pool. And even though I can't stand being in that cold, it actually helps my joints.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, like, that you can stay in there for several minutes, and that cryo or like like cold pools are amazing. That we know works. Cryotherapy is so short. I'm like, how could this work? But it might, I could be wrong. I gotta do more research about it. I gotta read more. I was very shocked. Have you guys ever seen Freeze Your Fat?
Yeah, the like emo or something like that.
Yeah, so this is called cryolipolysis, right? So here's the thing. My roommate asked me about this. Because the thing we know about fat loss is that it is very difficult to spot lose. In fact, not just very difficult, it's impossible. And so I was like, there's no way these machines do anything. And then I read several research articles because like my roommate kept bugging me about it, and I was like, all right. And so I just spent like 2 hours one morning peeling through cryolipolysis, NCBI. NCBI is like the greatest website ever because it's just all research articles, and I just read everything there is. There is actually a lot of evidence that this is a legitimate way to lose fat. That being said, it is like $7,000 for like 3 pounds worth of fat. So, but no, I've looked at every one of these like things, and there is a lot of like long-term research, and the science actually may be sound, which I hate to say. It drives me crazy that I think it actually might work. But yeah, that's a whole different thing. So next thing you got to consider is your price. Now, when you guys are considering price, it's the amount charged for your good or service. Okay, there's our definition. Piece of cake. Here's the thing though. This includes volume discounts, seasonal pricing, and bundle packages. So when you are considering your prices, guys, when people ask me how much I charge per hour, I usually say anywhere from $80 to $90. And that's not very specific. Like, what? Why isn't it just like a number? And it's because, like, look, you buy one session from me, I'm going to charge you $100 because, like, I don't like going out of my way to do one session. It's just in my way, it's like it messes up my schedule for the week. What I do like doing is like having someone on a schedule consistently. And the more you buy, the bigger of a discount you're going to give, because that's how I like to run my business. So, sometimes the price goes down. The lowest I ever go down is like if somebody buys a really huge package, I'm willing to take a major discount all the way down to like $65 an hour. And that is, that's a price that I only offer if you buy lots of sessions. But I like having the stability. I like having, the reliability of all those sessions coming in. So volume discounts, seasonal pricing, guys, it's January. We're just about, we're only a month out from January. It's going to go crazy. People like all those New Year's resolutions, and then bundle packages where it's like, well, if you buy this, you also get this, that's a really big one. These are all things you need to consider, because like it will throw off how much money you're going to make, couple different ways you can do your pricing, by the way. There's the cost plus approach to marketing. This is basically just cost plus is probably not something you're actually going to do unless you are offering products or services, or I'm sorry, unless you are offering products. Basically it's like if you buy, let's say you're going to sell fitness shakers, right? Custom all right, so you want to put your own logo on a protein shaker. So you can get them for $1 a piece, basically. So now what you need to consider is, and you got to pay shipping, obviously. Oh, which is, yeah, $3 a piece for shipping. So, okay, it's going to cost, that's insane. I mean, this is 100% coming from China. Probably find a better distributor, but this is going to be, so you're spending $4 a shaker. Okay, so cost plus marketing or cost plus price determination is where you go, okay, it cost me $4 a thing, so I'm going to sell them for $8 because I want to make 100% beyond whatever I paid. I want to make double my investment, you know? Cool, there you go, piece of cake. Because you also got to consider like how much you're going to spend on when you're losing taxes and everything. Like if you make 100% on that, you got to pay 30% on taxes. You know, it's like you're of that $4 that you're making per shaker, you're actually making $3.60, you know. Still not bad, but maybe you're like, I want to make more than that. Okay, $10 a shaker, right? So that's the cost plus approach. My parents, when they owned the pet store, they would do a 50% markup on everything. If they bought a hamster for $10, they would sell it for $15. And that was a cost plus approach. There's also value-based. Value-based is based on the buyer's perception of the value rather than the costs. So, you know, this is where, like, again, Equinox is killing it. Like, does Equinox need to charge $100, $150 a month for their freaking gym membership? Not really. It's not that, you know, they don't have anything that other gyms don't have, but they're able to charge it because the perception of that value is higher, you know? Now I may get some discerning opinions here, but like me, I think that that generic cereal at the grocery store tastes totally the same as the regular stuff. You know, I will totally go get, you know, Wheatios, you know, instead of Cheerios, because in my opinion, they taste the same. But other people are like, nope, they want to pay, you know, they want the name brand stuff. That's okay too. Just depends on how, again, it depends on how you're determining your prices. There's also competitive marketing, competitive price consideration. What's the going rate? You look in the in your area to figure out like how much other people are charging for the same goods and services, and then you just change up your markup there. And then there is a psychological component here as well. $199 looks much better than $200. That small difference there, it just is more psychologically beneficial. You know, a lot of research has been done on that. So yeah, that's one thing that you want to consider, like when it comes to the pricing strategies. Other things you want to consider, guys, when you are doing all of this, you need to determine like what your payment period is. Me personally, I am willing to keep training my clients, you know, even if they haven't necessarily like paid for their next bundle yet, because I know I'm going to get it within that pay period. I don't recommend doing that because like I could get stiffed for a session or two, but usually all my clients are people that I trust. Seasonal allowances, maybe you give like certain discounts at like certain times of the year. Again, like January is a huge time of year for personal training. So if you offer discounts and you can like get your clients, yeah, you might not be making as much money per hour, but you'll be working very consistently. And the next time all those people re-up their memberships, they're, maybe you don't keep all of them, but you keep a lot of them. You'll be able to charge your normal prices. Like I said, volume discounts is a big one. And then don't forget your credit terms, guys. If you're using Venmo, you got to remember, like, either you got to wait 1 to 3 days to deposit it into your account, or you got to pay 1%. So maybe you have to mark up your prices beyond that, you know. Are you going to accept credit cards, or just debit cards only, or Venmo, or whatever? Cash. Cash is great. Love it when clients pay in cash. It never happens, but I love it. It used to happen a lot. Next thing you need to consider is the place in the 4 P's of marketing. So product, price, place. Place is the channels that your product or service will go through to actually reach your customer. So like training in someone's home, you are going to them. That is the place that it is being marketed. It's like, I am marketing the fact that I am coming to you. You are the place, you know? Great, that works. Or maybe the place is, you know, you look at like LA Fitness, you look at 24-hour fitness. There's locations freaking everywhere. That's the point of it, you know. That's how they're doing it. So we call that intensive distributions, where there's as much placement in as many places as possible. That is your commercial gyms, Golds, 24, they're everywhere, you know. There's also like selective consideration when you're choosing your place, where you are narrowing it to a few specific places. Like, shoot, what is that brand? 24-hour fitness, the GNC brand. GNC and 24-hour fitness have like a partnership, and they both offer the same products in their like smoothie bar. That company that sells that protein is like specifically focusing on those 2 companies, whereas like other proteins might be found somewhere else. So that's selective distribution. If you're like, look, I work here, I train here, that's really what you're focusing on. Then there's exclusive distribution, which is like specific products that are only offered there. Like 24-hour fitness has its own line of supplements. Equinox has its brand of certifications. That's being marketed not towards like customers, but towards trainers, but still it is their own line. Maybe that's what you guys decide to do. You know, maybe you decide to partner with somebody in the area, and you're going to work with them directly. But place is where your product is actually hitting your customers. If you're working in a gym for someone else, you don't have to consider too much about place. But if you're training out of people's homes, I definitely recommend considering like what your area that you're willing to travel is. And if you are paying rent at a gym, maybe you're working at a trainer's gym, you know, there's At One Fitness, there is Ancient Fitness. That's cool looking. I do not know who this is, but that's like, yeah, no, that's, they have their training staff. Anyway, there's a place called Train in West Hollywood. There's Most Hated Personal Trainer in Sherman Oaks. That is hilarious. What a great name. I love that, actually. The Most Hated Trainer. That is so fun. What a silly way to market. That's great though. Like, that's such a funny, like, it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna hate working with me. Like, because some people love it. You know, some people love that like attitude. That's so smart. I like that a lot. So yeah, so places is like where your product is being offered. If you're paying rent session to session in a couple gyms in the area, great. But a lot of gyms will charge you monthly rates instead, and then you can just train as many clients as you want. If you're doing that, you probably don't want to be in multiple places, because that's just going to eat into your overhead. And lastly, we've got promotion. Promotion is the communication of information about your product or service with the goal of generating a positive customer response. This is the advertising. Okay, so advertising is the actual promotion of your service. Are you going to do radio ads? Probably not. Are you going to do print ads? Yeah, that's a big one. When Mo first got here, remember when I first met him, he was like, hey, you know, we had just met, and he handed me one of his like little flyers. He made little postcards, went down to FedEx Kinko's, and printed out a bunch of flyers, and he put one in every mail slot in his building that he lived in. And I think he got like 1 or 2 clients out of it, you know. Print ads work. Social media is a big one, but honestly, guys, nowadays the biggest thing, social media is huge, but the biggest way to advertise is going to be word of mouth. Your clients will tell their friends will tell their friends. This is why, tell your friends and family that you guys are, certified and becoming trainers and stuff. The more people who know about it, the better, because word of mouth marketing is absolutely huge for you guys as personal trainers. I was at Ultimate the other day. My buddy Ryan came up to me and he was like, "Hey, Katie's been looking for a personal trainer. Do you have any recommendations?" I was like, yeah, send her information my way. And then immediately another guy came over, was like, "Oh, and then like, it was a whole thing." And these are people I knew. I know these people very well. And then they were still doing that. So word of mouth marketing is always going to be your best friend. The thing that I was talking about earlier, creating that dynamic workout, that is a form of word of mouth marketing. Everybody gets used to seeing that specific warm up and they're like, oh, and they associate that with me. And then they want to come train with me. We lost you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No sweat. So that's all well and good. And that's all, by the way, those are all the really good test question-y stuff. Last thing you guys want to consider, no matter how you are marketing your product or service, guys, the most important thing is that you are applying uncompromising customer service. What I mean by that, I love the fact that it says like, it's like you want to apply great customer service. I do love that. But I like using the word uncompromising instead, because the idea here is that you are adding value to each member and each client as they walk through the door. However, you are not crossing over the line between professional and personal. Okay. So how do you provide uncompromised customer service? Get to know your client's hobbies and interests, get to know them as an individual, know your client inside, outside, backwards, and forwards. Always try to represent yourself with a positive image. Take care of yourself, like show up on time, tuck your shirt in if you have to. I hate doing that in gyms, but sometimes it's a thing. Always show up. And then one of the biggest ones, never give the impression to your client that any of their questions are inconvenient, unnecessary, unintelligent. It is a very easy trap to fall into. The personal training, the health and wellness industry is so freaking opinionated. And it's like, this is good, this is dumb. There's so much of that stuff. I mean, honestly, like, that's why I was saying, like, I was a little cagey about the cryotherapy thing. I'm going to do it. I don't know that I would put my reputation behind it, but I'm certainly not going to badmouth it. Because like, I want to have an image, a specific image of being fair and giving everything like a good chance to see if it works. I want to be uncompromised in my opinions. Well, I also want to be uncompromised in my customer service. This is a sentence that NASM puts in a bunch of PowerPoints, but it's like, good personal trainers obsess on opportunities to create moments that strengthen their professional relationships. You should be obsessed with the idea of like, how can you enhance the experience for your client and get them excited and motivated? And then the other thing, don't just hear complaints, but actually take ownership of them. If your client says something like, hey, this machine wasn't wiped down, and like, it's like, oh, well, I'm not on the janitorial staff. That's not helpful. Be like, so sorry about that. Let me see if I can take care of that for you. You do that kind of thing and people are going to be stoked on you. It will do your marketing for you. This is why gym managers, and this is good advice. I am thoroughly against not getting paid for it, but it is good advice to work the gym floor, re-rack weights, and all that stuff. Talk to customers, get to know people. That's all really, really important. But I will say, do not blur your professional and personal lives. Don't go to a ball game with your clients. Don't date your clients ever. It's just not a good idea, guys. I'm trying to think of other examples. Here's a really good example of something that happened to me. I think I've told the story before, but I had a client who I used to train her in the morning, and she would always walk her dog, and her dog would be there during our sessions and stuff. And she would walk her dog before I showed up and stuff. But like one day she was just running behind, and she was like, "Hey, I got to rush right off to work. I didn't have time to walk my dog." She's like, "Would you mind?" She's like, "I got to get ready for work. Would you mind walking my dog? Really, just let her out onto the lawn really quick. And I will, while I take care." And she was going to like set up some stuff. And then she's like, "That way I can just roll right out of our session and go straight to work." And I was like, there was a moment for me where I was like, look, I want to help. I want to make this person's life easier. And I certainly want to keep them happy as a customer. But I also do not want to, I was hired as a personal trainer. And so she was like, but her gym area was really messy and she needed to get that cleaned up before our session could start. She had a bunch of other stuff in the way. And I was like, tell you what, why don't we both walk your dog? I will come with you. And you can walk your dog. And then I will help you clean up this gym area, and we'll get you all set up, and we will count that walk as your warm up. And then we'll do a little bit of gentle stretching afterwards and kind of get you going while we're out there like on the street. So it was kind of a compromise where I was like, look, I'm not willing to do things that are not directly related to personal training, but I was willing to find a way to like still provide some customer service while only doing what I'm paid for. I didn't compromise myself. That's the key here. But you can ask yourself this. This is such a great way to end this. I always love this. I always love this last slide on this PowerPoint. Successful trainers will routinely ask themselves this question. If my entire future of my entire career was based on how this one client right in front of me evaluated their experience right now, what would I change anything? So you just want to continually be always treating it. When you get a new job, you're kind of walking on eggshells in the first couple of weeks because you're like, oh, I got to make a good impression. I don't want to get fired right out the gate. If you can maintain that mentality of like, I need to do the best job possible every single session, all the time, you're gonna be in a good spot, guys. So 4 P's of marketing. That's your marketing mix: product, price, place, and promotion. The product is the specific product you are offering. It includes your entire product line. The price is how much you're charging, but also things you need to consider about like credit terms, seasonal pricing, things like that. Places are where you are actually reaching your customers. If you're training at home, great. The world is your oyster. Literally, you can train anywhere, if you're doing Zoom online stuff. And then promotion is how you are going to advertise to your customers. And that's about it. That's all stuff you guys are going to have to kind of consider, in order to kind of get your feet off the ground. Any questions? Any questions today, guys? How's everybody feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All righty.
Feeling fine.
All right. Everything's clear? All right. Let's kill the recording here.